So, how do you, what I do? Now, how do I block my face in case I want to? Oh, stop video.
You all set, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. Lieutenant?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good on your end?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'll call this regular Board of Police Commissioners meeting to order. Roll call of commissioners. I'll call out names. Commissioner Diaz.
Here.
Commissioner Cuminato.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lyons.
Here.
Commissioner Roach is here. We're not expecting Commissioner Quarles or Commissioner Cruz this evening, and hopefully Commissioner Farrell will be joining us shortly. But we do have a quorum. I think we'll forego the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 2B is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular board meeting held on August 18th of this year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to accept and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes for that meeting have been accepted. Next is the acceptance of the minutes of the special board meeting, which we held on September 2nd of this year.
So be.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those have been accepted also. The next item is under reports. The Chief of Police, Chief Garcia, thank you very much for being here with us this evening. It's been quite a busy last several days for you, and maybe you can give us an idea of how things are working out for you so far.
Good
I'd like
evening,
to interrupt a
everyone.
minute. And I want to say congratulations, Beck. It's been a long time, and I didn't get a chance earlier at doctor's appointments. I figured you were too busy. I'm going to say now, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'd like to echo those sentiments also. Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir. I look forward to working with each of you. Bittersweet, as people have said, but my goal, my main goal is to make sure that we move ahead. That our department and that our city heals, but we're continuing to do what has to be done to better our community. We have actually, as I'm sure you know, there were several weeks ago that we had a very violent weekend, and we started what's called the Strategic Enforcement Detail, where we have officers working on this shift and into the midnight hours as well, into the midnight shift, where there's high visibility in what we're called or what are identified as hotspots throughout the city. We have the task forces out there, narcotics and vice, and they have done an excellent job getting guns off the street, serving warrants. We have our task force officers that have done search warrants and have gotten guns and drugs out of homes. And it's time to hold the people accountable, right? The people that are really hurting the communities in our city. So that is our focus right now in lowering the, focusing on the crime rate and curtailing the shootings that are happening and holding the people accountable. Just last night, we had an incident over on the east side of Birchport on Claremont and Pixley, where there were over 20 rounds fired. I think it was about 7 o'clock at night, if I'm not mistaken. And, we had residents of our city calling saying, hey, I have bullet holes in the walls in my house. And, that's not acceptable. I don't want the people in our city to have to live like this. And I want the community to know that we are here. We are working on curtailing this. We are working on getting the gun toters off the street. One of the positive things that I will also bring to you is the Project Longevity model. We have moved forward with it. It's under different purview. We have Sergeant Phil Sharp has started. He has now overtaken the project. We just added 2 officers to do follow-ups within the community. We have retired Officer Dimble working the community police of it, community side of it. And we are actually going out into the communities and working with the communities and engaging with them, which I think is key. One of the things I myself have gone out into the community, I've walked in PT, the East End. I have availed myself to walk in any of the community, get to know the community on a weekend, on a Friday night. I have advised the council. We've been talking that, you have an area in your community that you want me to see, that you want me to go out there and walk with you and talk to the people, I'm willing to do that. So, like I said, we're looking at moving forward. Definitely want to get these numbers down and hold the people responsible for the unrest in some of our communities throughout the city of Bridgeport. With that, on a good note, we had an academy class start yesterday. They were sworn in. We had a total of 16 for Bridgeport. We have 1 Stratford recruit officer attending the academy. They should be done. Today was day 1. Yesterday was day 1. They'll be done in about 8 months. In the meantime, we will start a recruitment process, and we're gonna be putting the information out there and try obviously different ways of recruitment. Before it was done at large gatherings at colleges, et cetera, but we know that many of the colleges are online. But we're going to come up with different things and different ways of advertising for recruitment for our police department. And obviously, I would say within the next month or 2, we will be doing that, going live with recruitment, or at least starting out the information. We had the list of detectives that just took the test. It was published yesterday. We look forward to being able to promote detectives. I know that they are currently 17 short. We are going to, once the appeal process is up, because they have a time where they can appeal or review their tests and the outcome, then I look forward on being able to promote the quite a few detectives into their positions. So I don't want to be long-winded. I know, like I said, I'm hitting the ground running, right? And getting acclimated, and just, had different meetings with our command staff, with as far as the strategic enforcement details, covering housing complexes, and just getting the officers out there as well as the command staff out there to reestablish relationships with our community. So if you have any questions for me, I would be more than happy to answer them if I can.
Before we have questions for the chief, just for the record, Commissioner Farrow is present as well. Any questions for the chief? Chief, I have more of a comment, and this is, I know, a very particular comment for a particular situation, but over the weekend, had some issues downtown where a couple of the businesses, restaurants in particular, and actually one in particular, it wasn't quite a restaurant type setting. It was more of a nightclub type setting, and we had crowds of younger folks showing up a lot of out-of-state plates. And as it turned out, I didn't realize it at the time, but one of the restaurants had been going to social media to promote their nightclub type operation. I happened to be down there because I received a call from the comedy club. They were having problems with their patrons trying to get to their cars after the show came out. But so the issues were on Friday. I got a call on Saturday. Actually, was down there on a couple different occasions Saturday evening and witnessed it for myself. The one thing I did want to mention, though, I put a call in and it was answered very, very promptly. The sergeant or lieutenant or whoever was running overnight sent 4 cars. All officers did an excellent job. They were very respectful to the crowd, and for that matter, the crowd was very respectful to them also. That usually goes hand in hand, but they were able to move the people that were loitering and drinking, and in some cases smoking weed across the street, move them along, efficiently enough. Got the word to the restaurant owners that no loud music outside and that sort of thing, and they were over, and the health department had followed up on the other issues. But I just wanted to make mention that, and I'm sorry I don't have the officers' names that were there that evening or late night, I should say, but they did a fantastic job.
I really appreciate that. And just to piggyback off of what you're saying, we have been definitely working hand in hand with the health department. There are 3 main areas that we have reoccurring incidences with, where they are actually closed indefinitely, yet we have certain issues going on where they're, the minute somebody turns around and walks away, they're opening shop. But we have come up with a plan, and we are looking to confirm that the plan is okay with our legal department as well. We know that there is a rise, right? As we know, the news is saying it, and we've seen certain other matters happening that we know that there is a rise in COVID cases, and we want to make sure that the community is aware and safe. I mean, I know we've had issues with some of the schools as well, but we want to make sure that even our officers obviously are protecting themselves when responding to calls as well. One of the things that I do want to just, if you would give me 2 more minutes, one of the things I do want to bring to your attention is we have started a focus group with the department. We have a representative from gender and race angles. There's 4 or 5 people on the focus group. We've asked them to please reach out to the officers, whereas if we can't, or if I can't see everyone, but they can be the voices for them to express any concerns that they may have, or some things that they may want to see. And one thing we discussed today was, I think the officers don't get the acknowledgement that they should when they do a good job, right? Usually we wait a year before we do an award ceremony, etc. But I am all for rewarding excellent work and great behaviors. And we have several officers that there's an approval on doing an acknowledgement for them. I believe it came before you all. And I would like to ask, if possible, request if you all can look in the calendars and we could do like a special meeting so that we can acknowledge the officers' work. Right now, 3 that were confirmed. We're looking at potentially 5 more, and maybe have it within a month's time. I'd like to do this maybe every 4 months. I know that with COVID, the one within the month, if you're available, I like to have it outside, and we'll determine exactly when. But if you guys can get a date to me, that would be greatly appreciated, so that we can acknowledge some of the good work that the officers are doing, because sometimes they don't hear thank you enough. And I know that in the past, the board has been extremely cognizant of good work and have always promoted that the officers, is acknowledged when they do good work.
I think that's a great idea. I also think it's a great idea to have something outside. I know we can't. It's difficult at best to run any kind of meeting, but if we can do something outside for them, it means a lot more than trying to do it Zoom wise, or it seems to have a lot more carries a lot more weight if we can do it.
And that
in
way
person.
they can bring their family. So I'd like to do it within a month's time. We can even do it on a Saturday morning. It doesn't have to be.
Let's schedule something. Would it be appropriate to schedule something in front of the police headquarters or the Margaret Morton Center? I think either one, whichever you decide. They both have their.
We can
merits,
definitely
but,
talk about the location. But like I said, I just want their families to be able to come and see that their loved ones, are being appreciated for the hard work that they do as well. But if you give me a couple of dates potential dates, that would be great, and we'll definitely move on it.
What does the rest of the commissioners think about a Saturday? Otherwise, it would have to be an early evening. We're also dealing with daylights escaping us as we move along here. Any thoughts, or are we good with pretty much everything?
Weekends probably would be better. I think the deterrent of the early sunset. It's dark by 7:15 now. Even if we 6, we might not make a 7 o'clock deadline, and it gets darker every day earlier. If I can, before the chief leaves us, I'd like to congratulate you as well as the other commissioners, especially being the first female police chief in the city of Bridgeport. That's a great accomplishment for you. The North End, obviously with, student housing and just regular constituents, outdoor parties, the police, I guess the department was committed to keeping an eye on things like that. Have you piggyback that, or are looking forward to move that, agenda? Again, we're not talking, 3 or 4 students with a 12-pack. We're talking, the 15, 20, where it gets a little bit crowded for these pandemic times where we need to be more mindful. I know former Chief McNamara is very active. I think he's got a dispatch on the weekends. I think they're contributing towards that, which I think is great. But police follow-up is essential when there's calls to these properties. Are you anything to comment on that?
Surely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I had met with Chief McNamara and former Chief Perez possibly a week and a half ago. We have their commitment. The rule of the school, the rule of Sacred Heart is no more than 12 people, and that's the rule. And if they are found to be having an event, a party at their home or wherever they're staying, and it's 12 or more people, the first time they get suspended for 30 days and they have to go online to take their courses. The second time they get expelled from the school. So what they have asked is that if we still have that detail that they pay for, I believe it's Thursday through Saturday, where they hire officers specifically for that detail. They have asked that if there are parties that reports over 12, reports are written and enforcement action is taken. So we are definitely on board with that, sir. We have met with council members that are very concerned about it. I know that the city is moving forward on looking for acquiring landlord information, et cetera, and landlords will be held accountable as well. So yes, sir, we are committed to that, and we definitely know that that is a serious matter because it regards health concerns as well.
So constituents, concerned neighbors, hey, there's a big party behind me, on the side of me, across the street from me. Should they contact police or should they contact McNamara if it falls within his days? What's the quickest line of action?
The quickest line of action is that they contact the police. So our dispatching center, we have re-implemented what's called the TRUE unit, which is the telephone reporting unit. And that's for priority 3 calls, so that officers are not bogged down with going from call to call to call. They can focus more on community policing type involvement with the community, correct? So, but that's one of the matters that would not fall under that priority 3, where you don't need a response from a police officer to show up at the location. So they are to contact CAD, our dispatching center, and our dispatching center will send out an officer, and then the officer will go and assess the situation and take enforcement action.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other questions for the chief?
I have a little something, Commissioner Ed Farrow. Want to congratulate you, just like Commissioner Lyons did. I am available on the weekend, obviously, for the thing for the officers. I apologize for getting on the call late. I wanted to know if what we're doing, and I may have already missed this, what we're doing to kind of build a community with what happened last week. That was a blow to certainly knocked me off my horse. And I don't know what we're doing about trying to heal the community. I know there was some talk before that happened that we were trying to connect with the chief to do something with the ComStat and bring the community into the fold so they have a better idea of what's going on and what the city is going through and experiencing. So there's there's a level of transparency, and at least people can begin to understand what the role of the police officers are and what you have to contend with as officers. And I think we really probably should revisit that. And I know you probably have your hands full now. I mean, do all of this overnight. Yeah, just a bit. But just something that, just to put in the back of your head. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Definitely. And you know what? Those of you that know me, we worked together for a really long time, right? You know that it's about the community and it's about law enforcement and building bridges, right? Like I said, I myself have gone out there. I've walked through PT, have gone to meetings in the East End, and like I said, I'm available to speak with the people in the community, and that's why we're doing things and we're reinforcing things like Project Longevity Model, where we have people out in the community. There's one of the things that I have requested that be looked into, and I know that community services is working on this piece, is being able to make contact with people when something has happened. For example, many years ago when I was a sergeant, I had what was called the CDCP model, which was the Child Development Community Policing, where it was actually a model followed after Yale. And we partnered here with Child Guidance. And we used to actually, if there was a shooting on the street or if there was something traumatic that happened, we would go and knock on the door with a clinician and just say, hey, if you have kids in the house, and they're experiencing, they're showing red flags, right? Because we know that happens, card. You don't have to tell us that your child is seeing anyone, but we want to make sure that this resource is available to you. Such as that, I know that Captain Porter we've talked at our ComStat meetings. I know that is his intent to bringing that back into play, as well as Project Longevity. When there's shootings, we're going to be hanging things, a little placard on people's doors as well, leaving them information for resources. By the way, I don't know, but if you know this, but one of our hotspot areas was Park and Wood. And I said, instead of having a car stationed there, right? Because they were stationing a car there for the day. And I was like, let's look at what the problem is. And, there were issues like services for money, right? Prostitution and drugs and things of that nature. So I said, instead of us just putting a car there to be visible, let's look at the core of the problem, because if you put a police car there, it's just going to displace it, right? So we have brought on, it's called Liberations Program, and they walk out there. We actually had our follow-up meeting today, or it's been a month, and they walk out there. They offer all kinds of resources for people that have drug dependency issues, mental health issues, things of that nature. And to date, in a month, they were able to have 80 contacts, and they have their van out there and they do the needle exchange program and things of that nature. But we know that when we focus on the problem, right? Instead of just displacing it, you focus on the problem. If people need help, mental health issues, they do homeless, they put people in shelters, all kinds of different programs. So let's offer them the programs. And I think that during our meeting today, the Deputy Chief Armino was present, as well as Deputy Chief Baraha, and Deputy Chief Armino is in charge of our operations division, which means patrol. Is one of his areas, and he has said that he has seen the change, or he has been told that he has seen the change, and they have offered to expand it. Now, mind you, they go out there 5 days a week between the hours of 6 to 7:30, and in a month's time, Monday through Friday, they have had 80 contacts. So to me, that's a plus, because we're offering something to the community. To me, I don't believe that community policing is a division, is a concept that has to be adopted by the whole department, so that we can be more effective and engaged with our community and have the positive changes that I know that we can do.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you so much.
Very good, Chief. Any other questions for the chief? Chief Garcia, thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
We look forward to working with you, and I'm sure I speak for all the commissioners saying that
Thank
you
you
have
so much.
Thank
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a good evening, everyone.
You too.
You too.
Okay. Lieutenant, do we have anybody from the union?
Yes, we do. We believe we have Sergeant Seeley with us.
Sergeant, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, the floor is yours.
I will not be very long this evening. I just wanted to take a few minutes, and I know the other night we spent many hours that evening. Thank you, Commissioner Farrell, for offering for me to take the floor, but it was something I just wanted to speak to you guys about. I really appreciate your time. I understand it's very, very long hours, but it's very important for our police officers when you're listening to these cases. And I certainly appreciate your dedication to and, volunteering for doing what you do. I really appreciate it. I know our officers, it means a lot to them. And these are some big decisions that have to be made regarding that. That's going to certainly impact most of their careers. So again, I said it would be very short and sweet. Thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to working with you here in the future.
Thank you, Sergeant. Any questions for the Sergeant?
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Sergeant.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Anything from Internal Affairs? Lieutenant?
Yes, I forwarded the monthly report from Lieutenant Lanos, which should be sitting in your email box. And if you did not receive it, I'd be more than happy to send it off to you.
Okay.
I have it.
I have it.
Okay. All right, moving forward, the clerk's report, status of pending matters. We have 2 items, correct?
Correct, Commissioner Roach. Just a reminder that we have the final Barrows hearing for 17 I-200 on Thursday, September 17th at 6 p.m. at City Hall Annex. And the following Tuesday, we have a second step Barrows hearing on September 22nd at the OPED conference room, which I will be sending out the notice towards the end of the week. And that's all I have right now.
Okay. How many items do we have on the Barrows hearing for September 22nd?
We have 3 citizens, Commissioner Roach.
Great, okay, all righty. Okay, unless there's any questions on the clerk's report,
I
we'll,
apologize, Rich, I do have one other item. I did send an addendum earlier, and it's just a correspondence. It would be 6A. And that was sent out earlier, and it is just, if you would like me to speak on it, Commissioner Roach?
yeah,
or
no, if you could, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
Yep, certainly. It was just a letter from Mayor Ganem on the appointment of Acting Chief Garcia.
Okay.
And we have noted that, in the past, and it's, will be placed in her file.
Okay.
And all of the commissioners were copied on this correspondence.
Thank you.
All right, very good. We have nothing under new business, old business, correspondence was just noted, letters of appreciation, and widow's pension. I guess we go to traffic matters. 9A, request of the city engineer's office to approve the following traffic requests. If it's okay with the board, I'd like to entertain a motion to combine the first three items that are very similar. They all involve a removal of a handicap parking sign, and they've all involved requests of landlords who have stated that the tenants have moved on and there's no more need for those. So if it's okay, I entertain a motion to combine and approve those first three items.
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those matters have been approved. 9A, the fourth item, the installation of do not enter signs, one-way signs at Seaside Village, Albert Square approach to Burnham Street. This was also approved by the city traffic engineer. And unless anybody has any questions, I will entertain a motion.
Isn't that the same item on B4?
The same item on B. It's in favor of the do not enter signs and not in favor of installation of westbound one-way signs.
Okay.
There's two different items, Commissioner Diaz.
Right. Yeah, I see it. It's same street, different item.
Okay. Any further discussion on the fourth item under 9A?
We had approved this before, right? The customers came, I mean, the citizens came in and spoke on this?
Yes, they did.
I remember that.
Several months ago, Commissioner Diaz.
I do remember, yes.
Yep,
Okay.
several months ago, right before COVID hit.
That was pre-COVID, yeah.
Okay. So you need to entertain a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that too is approved. The fifth item, installation of curb signs. The vicinity of 27 Cogswell Street, it seems to be pretty cut and dry. Request was made, and the city traffic engineer investigated and agreed that the sign should be installed. Unless there's any questions on that, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion to approve, and there's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That passes. The final item under 9A is the installation of multi-way stop control and no parking here to corner signs at the intersection of Brook Street and Stillman Street. I know this has been around for a little while, and there was a thorough study done, and the results were that the traffic engineer recommended both the multi-way stop control and the no parking here to corner signs to be placed roughly 25 feet from the intersection at all points.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Aye.
It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to 9B, items that at the request of the city engineer's office would be not to approve. The first two items are installation of handicap parking. In both instances, there is off-street parking available, and in no cases do we have any communication from the landlord that the tenant does not have access. So therefore, the recommendation was to deny the request in both of those cases.
Are we combining them?
If it pleases the board, we can combine and vote.
I'll move that they combine and we vote for not to approve.
For the recommendation, okay. The motion's been made to combine those two items and concur with the city traffic engineer not to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, move those items. The third item is the installation of a multi-way stop control inside Seaside Village at Burnham Street and the Flanders Street intersection. The communication from Powell explains that he doesn't feel it is there is enough traffic volume to warrant a multi-way stop. Lieutenant, you're an expert on Seaside Village, having spent a good part of your life there. You're familiar with Burnham and Flanders?
I am.
In this particular intersection, if it's okay with the rest of the board, do you agree with the recommendation of the traffic engineer?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, unless there's anything else, I'll entertain a motion.
Entertain a motion on just 9B3.
Yeah, just 9B3.
I'll move that we accept the city engineer's recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our last item. The installation of westbound one-way conversion, Seaside Village, Alsace Street from Burnham's to Flanders.
Again, Commissioners, a very, very tight area, and my concern has always been, fire department apparatus unable to navigate if this happened.
Okay.
We have a lot of elderly in Seaside Village. And though there is a parking issue, I think it's important to stick with the recommendation and the recommendation of the fire marshal.
Mm-hmm. It does it, and I'm very good. Making it a one-way street to allow for parking on two sides as opposed to a two-way street with parking on one side. And if the fire marshal says don't change it, I mean, I would tend to agree, even though it seems to make enough sense to add more parking by making it one way as opposed to two-lane street, but I'm not gonna argue that. No, I just sort of did, but, any other comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
So move.
There's a
Motion to
motion
engineer's recommendation.
approve the recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Excuse me, Commissioner Roach,
Yes, sir.
I discussed this a little bit with Commissioner Diaz. Back about a month ago, well, it was a little over a month ago, we approved a four-way stop sign on Barnum and Hallett, making a four-way, because there's no traffic stop between East Main and Seaview Avenue. It's just a straight quarter-mile run. Councilwoman Maria Valley contacted, I saw the email, and I saw the thread that she sent it to everyone. I don't know if anybody had a chance to read it or speak to her, but she was contacted by city, like two different people from the city. I think somebody in Lines and Signs and somewhere else. She didn't say who, because I corresponded with her. And she told me that the city engineer did not want that stop sign there. It was not to be installed. Now, things are slow, obviously, because of the pandemic. We get that. But just for verification, we do have the final say. If we want a stop sign or not a stop sign or a street sign, that should be our call. She's pretty upset about that. If you have a chance, or if anybody has a chance, reach out to Councilwoman Vaya, because she was told that this is never going to happen by more than one person. Which,
Well, but that's not, that shouldn't have been said. It shouldn't have been put in those words. You're absolutely right. We do have the final say. And you know, historically, the city traffic engineer would base his recommendations on the amount of traffic, or in the amount of accidents in a period of time that incident was caused by that. But if the idea is, and we've done this before, is to slow down traffic, like you say, there's a very long stretch.
right. I measured it with my vehicle. It's a quarter mile from East Main to Seaview with nothing to stop traffic.
With nothing to stop and slow down.
Traffic area. I think Commissioner Diaz will agree with that. That's a speedway.
No, it is, and we've done, like I say, we've done it before, and gone against the recommendation, mostly for that reason, to slow down. I mean, you see a couple of oddball T intersections that have three-way stop signs that there's no justification for, because of the amount of traffic, because there isn't enough, but it isn't for necessarily to allow those cars to coming in, you know, into the T intersection to move freely. It's a question of slowing down. It's slowing down traffic, or if there's, you know, in other cases there's poor visibility. But we've done it before, and I think we were correct in doing it. We always got some pushback from the traffic engineer on it, because everything he does is, you know, pretty much by the book.
The other thing that I've noticed, I don't mean to interrupt you, is it takes forever to either get them installed or uninstalled. It used to be a month, 6 weeks. I know when Dennis Patu was still on board with the city, he got things done quicker. Somebody named Junior Emilio, if I'm.
Yeah, he's been doing the best he can. Sometimes it's it's even a lack of equipment. He's waiting for signs to be ordered before he can install them, and that's usually the case with Junior.
6 to 8 months on some of these things, and constituents are like, "Hey, whatever happened? Yeah, what was approved?" And I mean, the deinstallation stop sign over by Maddie's house on Vincelette Street took 6 months just to take it out. You know, it's,
Okay, well, that's taking one down. There's no excuse for that.
oh, there's not.
Commissioner, if I may, just echoing on Tom's statements. Is there some way that we as the commission can get them into engineering to kind of speed this Barnum Street issue? Just, I mean, because of the controversy it's created, as far as people saying that we're not, you know, they're not listening to the commission or it's not our place. I think a good sign would be to show that that we do control
Listen,
the process. Would be to get this done.
That's fine.
I think that
Commissioner Diaz, we can, if we're all in agreement, we can bring it up off the floor now and approve it.
I think we should, and I think that we should try to make it as immediate as possible.
Then all I would need would be a motion to suspend the rules to place this item on the agenda.
I'd like to make that motion to suspend the rules and place this item on the agenda.
I'll second that.
And that's been seconded. I believe it needs unanimous consent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
More importantly, is there any opposed? Okay, it's now on the agenda. I believe it's been properly discussed. If anybody would like to add anything before motion's made, please do so.
I guess my question is, what are we going to do? Because I thought we had put out a few different options or suggested a few different options about what we would do in that particular vicinity.
There's one other option that I'm aware of, but it might be a case of if we approve this, knowing that it's going to take a couple of months to be installed anyway, we can always circle back and make changes if we need to. There's the possibility they're looking into using speed humps, and that would be probably a very good location for that. Not like the traffic bumps, but the more gradual speed humps that emergency vehicles could operate with, plows could operate with, that kind of thing. We're not there yet. To my understanding, there might be just a handful of locations where they would test it out and see its effectiveness before going full in. I know there's budgetary concerns involved also, and that sort of thing. But it could very well be an option to answer your question, Ed. And it was just a suggestion on my part. If the commission wants to move forward and approve this for a stop sign location, and during the interim, if we get word back that we have another solution that's going to be just as timely, or if not timelier, then we can always revisit.
Commissioner Roach, if I may.
Sure.
Yep. I received a resolution. I'm in the process of writing a letter for a request on behalf of the board. And it was from Councilman Valle and President Nieves regarding a traffic calming speed humps in the area along Pembroke Street between Hamilton and Crescent, Barnum Avenue between East Main and Seaview, Waterview between Crescent and Stratford Avenue.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's up to the board. We can have two irons in the fire on this if you'd like, or we can wait and see if the speed humps pan out. And I know, like I said, it's been my understanding there's only going to be very little to go around. I know that's a request for 3 speed humps in a particular area. Whether or not they're going to be able to accommodate that or not is probably hasn't been determined yet.
Just from my familiarity with the area, I would say that the speed humps on over by the back of Bass Pro in that area where they said would probably be warranted because they don't get the cross street traffic that they do on that Barnum Avenue. Barnum Avenue, there's right on that Barnum Avenue at that corner, Alice Street, is where when eventually there is school again, full time, that's where kids cross at. And I think that, yeah, it's great if we can, if like you said, if there's only a limited number, then the better use of them would probably be on those roadways that don't have the crossing traffic as much as they do on Barnum Avenue. I think a stop sign would be more merited, but again, that's my opinion. So I don't mind having both, and if something, maybe the council people will have.
I think we're all in agreement that we need something there.
Yeah.
And I'm suggesting this as a way to guarantee, you know, at least one thing.
I agree. I agree that.
So.
Well, the stop sign's been agreed upon at that corner to make it a four-way.
Yeah.
I would just like to see it done sooner than 2021, you know? Just saying.
Okay. Well, I actually have something with Junior. If you remember, a month or two ago, we approved. Might have been last month or the month before. We approved a sign for the at the train station, no idling, whatever, and those signs were actually provided by state level through DEEP, I believe. And I have the sign in my office now, and I'm meeting him tomorrow to put that up. So that would be a good time to have him looking at where are we going with this. And I'm sorry, Tom, we already did approve it. You're absolutely right. So if that's the case, then
expediting the installation, we could put it at the top of the list, you know, just to show the community that, you know, we are moving on things, and it's,
well,
they think it's us, you know, when it's not.
yeah, no, I know. No, listen, if it was up to us, we go out there and nail it in ourselves, but, okay. So maybe the motion to, if it's previously been approved, if you want to make the motion to communicate with Lines and Signs to expedite this as quickly as possible by giving it top priority.
And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. But,
Oh, Danny.
I'll have that conversation with him tomorrow. I'm going to see him in the morning anyway.
Commissioner Roach,
Yes, sir.
I was just trying to make sure that this doesn't bar us, or this doesn't become a thing where it's mutually exclusive, right? Where if we put the stop signs, we don't get the speed humps.
No, I understand.
You know what I mean?
Understood.
What'll probably happen is at nighttime, we just have people flying past stop signs. That's all that's going to happen at night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But something has to be done over there.
Well, yeah, let's get moving on something. Something that at this point is better than nothing, and I don't know, you know, how quickly, you know, speed humps could be a long way off at this point. We can come back and if we decide, you know, we don't want the stop sign, but we want the speed hump, we can certainly, you know, handle it that way also. Or maybe a way to do both.
Right.
Especially if the kids are crossing at some point, you know, there's still, like Tom says, it's at least a quarter of a mile. You know, even an eighth of a mile, there's plenty of space to go from 0 to 50, some of these cars.
Now it is almost directly in the center of Seaview and East Main.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the center point, which I think is a perfect spot.
Okay. Very good. Anything else, folks? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And it's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners.
Lieutenant.
See you on Thursday.
See you
All right.
Thursday.
Sergeant.
So